Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this stage. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this stage. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this stage. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this stage. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב who need people are the luckiest people in the world. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. People who need people are the luckiest people in the world. Psalm 121, Asa enai el harim, I lift my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from God, maker of heaven and earth. And at this time of gathering, this time of mourning, we take comfort in the presence of God and in the presence of our loved ones. And as Barbra Streisand sang in one of Fran's favorite songs, people who need people are the luckiest people in the world. And so we take presence in one another, in the people in this space and beyond, and in the words and melodies of our tradition. In this time of loss, we can be comforted in knowing that we are forever connected to the people that we love. And so it's through that lens that this morning we will honor and celebrate the incredible 103 years of life of Frances Mande. My name is Cantor Becky Mann, and I'm honored to be with you this morning to honor the incredible life of this incredible woman. And as we think of Fran, there are so many words that could be used to describe her: vibrant, curious, resilient, funny, caring. And yet these words pale in comparison to who Fran truly was to each of you. Mother to Susan, Jerry, and Alan of blessed memory. Mother-in-law to Rick and Elizabeth. Grandmother to David and Elise, Karen and Jameson, Jonathan, Thomas, Matthew, Molly and Toby, Caton and Victoria. And great-grandmother to Nora, Jory, Eleni, Maya, and Avi. Beloved family member and friend to so many more. When we are bereft with grief, it can be hard to know how to go forth, but the words of our tradition help to give us comfort. And so we turn now to Psalm 23, a psalm that is so powerful because it promises nothing other than the fact that we are not alone. We walk through the valley of the shadow of death, through the most difficult moments of our lives, and we are forever changed. But we are not alone. We find strength in each other, in our memories and love that will guide us
and remain with us. Adonai ro'i lo echsar bino tesheyar bitseni al mei menuchot Yinach aleini Nafshi yeshovev Yancheni b'maglei tzedek Yancheni b'maglei tzedek Leman Shemo Adonai ro'i lo echsar Adonai ro'i lo echsar. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. God, you lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even as we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies, and you have anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of God forever. There is a saying in Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our ancestors, which describes the values made for a good life. Who is wise? One who learns from every person. Who is strong? One who overcomes her challenges. Who is rich? One who is content with what she has. And who is honorable? One who honors her fellows. By our tradition's measures, Fran was one of the wisest, strongest, richest, and most honorable women any of us could have ever known. She was born in 1922 in Minsk, Belarus, and immigrated to America with her family at just 7 years old. Upon arriving in the United States with the name Fanya, her name was changed to Fanny. But she decided to take matters into her own hands and change her name to Frances, which soon became Fran. Her family settled in Brooklyn, where Fran grew up and spent many of her early years surrounded by family, celebrating holidays, traveling together. From a young age, some of Fran's favorite moments were spent with family. Large gatherings in Brooklyn, celebrating Hanukkah, Passover. And at just 17, she met her beloved Irv while on vacation in Mount Ivy, where they were both visiting one summer with their families. They quickly bonded over the fact that they both lived in Brooklyn. And while Irv was smitten with Fran first had her eye on his cousin. But as Fran later said, Irv won out, and I'm glad that he did. They married just 2 years later and lived the most wonderful 64 years of life together, traveling the world, celebrating each and every day the special love that they shared. They moved from Brooklyn to Stamford and eventually to Westport in 1956 as founding members of their neighborhood. They raised their 3 children there in their Westport home where Fran lived for 69 years. Westport was an important place to Fran, with many visits to Campo Beach, the Westport County Playhouse. She loved the Westport Library and the Levitt Pavilion, and always lived an active life around town. She was a frequent celebrity at the Westport Senior Center, where she enjoyed many activities, lunches, and events. And when people would find out how old she was, they would simply clap and marvel at her youthfulness. Judaism was also important to Fran. Traditions and all that it reminded her of her times with her family, both growing up and in her adult life. An avid reader with a curious mind, she joined the book club here at Temple Israel, where she became a member in 1964 and was one of our longest tenured members of this congregation. Fran remained an active participant in the engaging discussions of our book club over Zoom until just 6 months before her passing. She kept her mind sharp, keeping up with the news, reading, watching TV shows, and of course, keeping up with her family. And knowing what was happening in the lives of her kids, her 7 grandkids, and her 5 grandchildren made for a lot of different plot lines to follow. But nothing brought Fran more joy than her family. And what a blessing it was for her family to know that they always had a mother, a granny, a Gigi that was there for them. And as much as Fran loved her family and knew how to celebrate them, her family knew how to celebrate Fran, throwing a big party for her 95th birthday, and then again for her 100th, 101, 102, 103. She was known as a miraculous woman, resilient, living each day to the fullest. And at less than 5 feet tall and 90 pounds, she was larger than life. And just as she lived vicariously through her family, her memory will continue to live on through each of you. In Judaism, it's custom to say the words, "May her memory be for a blessing," when someone passes away. But it's up to us to make it so, to continue to share of the many memories that filled our lives with blessing. And so at this time, it's my honor to invite up Fran's grandson David to begin sharing these memories.
She was passenger ID 90119910785541 on the ocean liner Aquitania that departed Cherbourg, France on January 8th and arrived at Ellis Island on January 15th, 1930. Less than 3 months after the stock market crash of 1929, right at the start of the Great Depression, she left Russia along with some, but not all, of her family and sought a better life in America. She couldn't read, she couldn't write, and she spoke only Russian. She was 7 years old. It is a period of her life that I've always known very little about until recently. In asking myself why she didn't talk about it more, I can hear her saying now, "Well, you never asked." I wish I had asked more, because imagine the wealth of stories that she had. Back then, she was Fania Bregman, born, according to the Ellis Island records, in Wygoda, a town near Warsaw in what is now Poland, and then raised in Minsk. Her father, Wolf, was a farmer who, again, according to the records, also couldn't read, couldn't write, and spoke only Yiddish. They arrived with her mother, Devora, and sisters Masha, 16, and Riva, 11. They left behind another sister whose husband was not allowed to leave Russia and who they might never see again. Their ship, the Aquitania, was the only major ocean liner to serve in both world wars, the longest-serving express ocean liner of the 20th century, and it was nicknamed the Ship Beautiful for its beautiful interior. The arrival manifest from Ellis Island notes whether each arriving family had at least $50 in their possession upon arrival. The Bregmans had 10. Upon arrival, they stayed, at least initially, with Samuel Ocko in Ramapo, New York, just across the Hudson from Westchester. Sam was also a farmer, but more importantly, he was Jewish. I do not yet know any more about the connection between the Bregmans and Samuel Ocko. Perhaps they were family, but I can imagine that it was his sense of duty to help out fellow Jews that guided Sam Ocko and helped bring Fania and her family here to America. It is because of the determination, vision, and grit of those who came before us that we are all able to enjoy the lives we have today. Because Wolf Bregman traveled across the sea with his wife and 3 daughters to a country they had never been and to a language they did not speak. Because Sam Ocko heard the call to help his fellow Jews. And because Fania Bregman lived a life of which few can dream. From a 7-year-old immigrant child into first Frances Mande, and then Mom, Granny, and ultimately Gigi. She had a profound impact on my life, sometimes in ways that I'm only now beginning to truly understand. Some of my fondest childhood memories are summer vacations to Ogunquit, Maine, where we would spend the week by the beach, walking the marginal way, collecting seashells, and sitting on the porch of our big Victorian house, getting an early start in our summer reading. Is it any surprise that today I live within a 10-minute walk of the beach, roughly the same distance away as our Ogunquit house? Many a morning in Ogunquit would see the 3 of us, Granny, Papa, and me, up with the sun to run or walk, or run and walk as the case may be, along the beach. Granny would inevitably fall behind. She famously did not have the world's longest legs. But she never stopped moving forward, and we would always circle back and pick her up along the way. She continued running races well into her 70s, and her beach walks continued into her 103s. For me, I would have never run the Boston Marathon without the discipline and culture she and Papa showed me surrounding running right from the start. She also helped instill in me a love for theater that has continued beyond her, beyond me, to my own children. I will never forget my weekend trips to Connecticut, getting dropped off with Granny and Papa at Ryan's Deli, heading into the city on the train first thing in the morning to line up at the TKTS line, waiting to see what magical Broadway show awaited us that day. The answer, Guys and Dolls, was a moment that would come full circle years later when I performed in Guys and Dolls myself in college, wearing the same costumes that had been worn by the Broadway cast all those years before. But if there is one interest I would say Granny held above all else, it would have to be politics and current events. She was deeply passionate about the state of affairs in our world and kept herself informed through her myriad of nightly programs, including the NewsHour and her beloved Rachel Maddow. It likely does not come as a shock to any of you that Granny considered herself a Democrat, and to say that she was concerned with our current government would be putting it mildly. Let's just say that some of her socialist upbringing in Russia may have rubbed off a little bit. Every conversation I ever had with her included a political discussion in one way or another, and she would always ask what I was doing to help improve the situation in the world. I got the impression she was never more proud of me than when, upon graduation from college, I joined the John Edwards for President campaign in New Hampshire, which was focused on addressing poverty and leveling the playing field for those in our society who were marginalized and ignored. She always had a strong opinion on the story of the day and would have made a fine politician herself if she had set her mind to it. But there was another calling for Granny, another love that won out above all else, even her love for politics, and that was her love for her family. Here was a woman who worked tirelessly to support and protect her 3 children, not just as kids in Westport, but as they grew into adults and spread across the country. She provided for her grandchildren, allowing and encouraging each of us to pursue our dreams, whatever that might be. She shared with Papa a deep-seated love for the holidays, both for the traditions they inspired and the family time they allowed. There is no holiday I associate with Granny and Papa more than Passover. All of us gathered around the table on Philo Street, singing about the mamas and the papas. It's always the mama and the papas. It's not the matriarchs and the patriarchs, no matter what the Haggadah says. Searching for the afikomen among the exercise equipment in the basement, and pretending to like the halava, unless you're Granny, in which case you really did like the halava. It's fitting then that Granny's last trip to Massachusetts, the last time that my wife Elise and children Jory and Eleni would see Granny, was for Passover Seder at our house in Swampscott. Where we try our best to carry on the holiday traditions that began in Brooklyn years before. And oh, those great-grandchildren. To Granny, it was a crowning achievement of her life to be a great-grandmother. And not just once, but 5 times over. She loved her great-grandchildren, Jory, Eleni, Nora, Maya, and Avi, fiercely. And they loved their Gigi right back. I asked my kids for their memories of their Gigi, what they wanted me to share, and here's what they said. Jory's first memory of Gigi is, a quote from him, when we were all on our deck wearing blue matching shirts. The thing is, I remember that moment too, and Granny wasn't there. I even looked up the picture. What he's remembering is the real first time he met his Gigi, which he can't remember, but he has seen in a photograph, one of my favorite photographs, of me holding Jory a week after he was born, with my mom and Granny standing right behind. 4 generations in one, and a memory he will apparently hold on to forever, even if the details are slightly blurred. And Eleni, her memory of Gigi is that people really liked her, and she was really, really nice. And Eleni wanted me to make sure to tell everyone here today, from me, David, that my daughter really loved her. Even Jory's friends knew of Gigi, because Jory was often quick to proudly tell people about his 103-year-old great-grandmother. And that's what today and this weekend are really all about. The chance to celebrate a singular woman, a remarkable 103-year life. So while death is always sad, I hope that we all can also take this chance to smile, laugh, share stories, and reconnect together. I know that's what Granny would have wanted. For the last 9 years, our family gatherings have seen 4 generations come together. And in those moments, I hope Granny reveled just a bit in what she and Papa set in motion. The whole mishpacha they created. Which brings me at last to her love for Papa, her Irv, her partner of 67 years from the time they met, or 804 months. But really, it's more like a partnership of 86 years, or 1,032 months. Because even in the 19 years since his death, the 2 of them have continued as a team, and their love has never waned. Together, they traveled the world, from India to Japan, San Francisco, Hawaii, and everywhere in between. They took on life's challenges together, be it World War II, raising a teenager in the 60s, living in an increasingly technological world, and finally, perhaps best of all, growing old together. Their love and partnership is a model that I live every day of my life. Hoping to emulate. And their commitment to one another and their family is something to celebrate. There is so much that we all can learn from Granny and the way she lived her life. But the thing I'll remember most of all is the love she and Papa shared. Always and in all ways.
Thank you, David, for those beautiful words. We invite Thomas to the bima.
Apparently there's some wisdom to printing things as mine is loading. All right, it loaded. I'm Thomas. I'm one of Granny's grandkids, Jerry and Elizabeth's son, and Matthew's brother. I'm blessed that Granny has been an important part of my life from my birth until her passing. When my brother and I were little and our family lived in Hamden, Connecticut, just 30 minutes from Westport, Granny and Papa played a central role in raising us. With our dad working and our mom in medical school residency, for years Granny and Papa spent 3 to 4 days a week looking after us, both during days and during nights. I don't remember those times, but I do know that my parents always say they don't know what they would have done without Granny and Papa's support. And I do remember our regular visits to Granny and Papa's Westport house, a 30-minute drive that for a 6-year-old felt like an eternity, but was worth it to sit on the floor and play checkers with Papa and eat Granny's delicious barbecue chicken. When we moved to Maryland in 2010, Granny remained a regular figure in our lives. She would visit for bar mitzvahs, graduations, and other celebrations, and we would come visit her, whether just to check in or for one of the many epic birthday parties she had towards the end of her life. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Granny came and lived with us for a few years in Bethesda, time that was not easy, but time that my brother and I cherished because it gave us an opportunity to know Granny in a way we never would have otherwise. In the final years of her life, Matthew and I both stayed very close with Granny, and we were lucky to see her both several times in the months leading up to her passing. There is so much to say about the amazing person that Granny was. She was extremely, in my opinion, underratedly funny, sarcastic, witty, and subtle. She was endlessly generous and kind. She had a unique talent for organization, somehow able to remember the exact locations of hundreds of objects around her home, a talent she kept until the very end. But when I think most, what will stick with me most about Granny, it was the way that she fought. Granny is the toughest person I have ever met. While many of the times I spent with Granny were happy times, many, especially being so close to the end of her life, were hard. But it was the way that she carried herself in those hard times that, to me, made her the person that she was. After turning 90, and I may be forgetting things here, but Granny had a knee replacement, a broken foot, a broken pelvis, gallstones, a torn esophagus, a small bowel obstruction, and ongoing heart failure through all of that. She lost Irv, the person she loved most in the world, 19 years before her own passing. The last decade of Granny's life was, in many ways, one continuous fight. The way she fought was spectacular. Setback after setback, she worked tirelessly to restore her health, leaving medical team after medical team simply stunned. Through all of it, she never failed to crack jokes, to find joy in small pleasures, a tasty treat, a visit or a call from family members, or a riveting TV show or play. Granny fought for all of that time because there were certain things that she wanted. She wanted to be able to live in her Westport home, to be able to go to the senior center and take trips to the beach. She wanted to witness and celebrate the milestones of her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren. She wanted to see her big family, which has not always been the easiest to manage, unified and together. Granny fought for all of that time, and Granny won. Thursday morning, Granny passed away in her own home on her own terms. A few weeks before, just a month out from a near-fatal illness, she walked Campo Beach one last time. 2 months prior, all 7 of her grandchildren visited her in the hospital, unified together, the way she wanted it to be, the way she moved the world to cause it to be. When she passed, she had 2 living children, 7 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. She was a part of the life of every single one of those people. She saw countless birthdays, weddings, and bar and bat mitzvahs. She saw many of them build careers and start families. Prior to passing, she saw her youngest grandchild, Matthew, walk across the stage for his graduation. 4/11 on her best day, Of diminutive stature and with kind green and gray eyes, Granny was a woman who moved mountains. May her memory be a blessing.
Thank you, Thomas. And finally, this morning, we'll hear from Fran's daughter, Susan.
Not sure I can do this, but I'm going to try. And I said some of this may have been said by others, and a lot of it has, but it's coming from me. And actually, thank you for adding so many details that I wish I could have also put in, but I'm glad that they were shared by you. But I guess that's what happens when you go last. These past few days, I've been trying to think of a word that sums up my mom. So many came to mind, from the names we called her, Mom, Granny, and Gigi, to the things that mattered to her the most, like family, home, and tradition, to the things she loved to do, like reading, walking on the beach, the theater, or watching the sunset. The word that I kept coming back to, though, was matriarch, or maybe I should say mamas. Merriam-Webster defines a matriarch as a dignified, usually elderly woman of some rank or authority. I don't think my mom ever aspired to be a matriarch, but as I thought about it, that is exactly who she was. She was definitely a classy lady, and she for sure met the definition of elderly. But for me, and for the rest of our family, she was our guiding force and inspiration. For many years, she shared this role with my dad, her true love and life partner. But since his passing over 19 years ago, she has bravely taken on the role of our anchor on her own. Her love of all things family laid a strong foundation that has shaped who I am and how I raised my family, and now I see being repeated in my children and their families. Her belief in tradition and the importance of families being together and celebrating together, whether it be a birthday, an accomplishment, or a holiday, have left me with so many cherished memories. Far too many to name, but here are a few that stand out. Our Thanksgiving dinners with her sister Reva and my cousin Vicky's family, and Passover Seders, initially in Brooklyn with my dad's large extended family, to smaller family Seders here in Westport, and today, where our yearly Seders happen at our home and that of my son and daughter-in-law, David and Elise. We all know my dad loved these Seders, but my mom did too. Maybe not all the time and effort it took her to make the delicious meals, but the family being together, celebrating, and continuing a tradition meant the world to her. I know there will be a big hole in all of our hearts at our Seders in the years to come, but Mom, your traditions will continue. Your love of cooking has been passed on to both Jerry and I, and to many of our grandchildren. Your Passover favorites like homemade gefilte fish, carrot simmis, and your delicious cranberry apple orange jello mold will be on many Seder tables from years to come. Mom, you have always been there for me, taking care of me, rooting me on, and helping me out. One of my earliest memories is when I was 4 and developed a horrible stomachache late at night. Despite your repeated calls to the doctor, who tried to tell you that it was nothing that couldn't wait until morning, you comforted me and advocated for me. When you brought me to the hospital, against the doctor's advice, your concerns were validated as my appendix had burst. You worried about all of us. I remember you standing by the living room window each weeknight around the time Dad should be home from work, awaiting his arrival. If only we had cell phones back then and he could have let you know he was running late or stuck in traffic. You bravely waited then and were so brave many other times in your life. You traveled with your family from Russia as a young child on a long and difficult boat trip to a strange new country, leaving your older sister Seal behind. Many years later, you would travel back to Russia with your sister Mary and then with Dad to visit her. You took such good care of Dad when he developed cancer in the 1970s. You must have been so scared, as he was your everything, but you stood by his side and changed your lifestyle to meet his needs. Your fabulous cooking became focused on healthy eating. It was still mostly delicious, but your substituting carob chips in your famous chocolate chip cookies is something none of us will ever forget. You and Dad took up running in your 50s, and you were so proud to be the fastest last place finisher in a local road race you did in your 70s. While you loved Westport, Campo Beach, and the Westport Playhouse, you also explored the world with Dad, putting a great effort into planning amazing trips to far more places than I can name, but including China, Japan, and much of Europe. One of the bravest things you ever did was to carry on when we lost Dad. I remember sitting with you back then, and you not even able to begin to imagine how you could move forward. You said, "Give me a year, and then you would decide what to do with the house and everything." Well, 19 years later, you just didn't survive. You blossomed, and you continued to grow. You made new friends, you became active in the Westport Senior Center, and took advantage of all things Westport had to offer. You faced a number of health issues that you were told you may not fully come back from, but you always did. Not many 89-year-olds have a knee replacement and then are told they are the rock star at rehab, putting many 50 and 60-year-olds to shame. You continue to travel. I will always cherish the cruise you took with Rick and me to Cuba, a place you had never been to and wanted to add to your list. I have so many more memories, like you being there for Rick and me when each of our children were born, our family trips to Chatham Bars Inn each summer when I was growing up, and our annual trips to Ogunquit, Maine with multiple generations, with walks on the Marginal Way, Brown's Ice Cream, which is now called Dunn's, and the Ice House in Portsmouth, New Hampshire on the way home. And I remember the wonderful birthday celebrations we shared. There was the big 95th, or the 59th, as you like to say, the amazing 100th, and we got to add on 101, 102, and most recently, 103. The decorations lovingly made by Karen still adorn the house. These celebrations allowed you to look back. You would marvel at what you and Dad had created. You were so proud of your 3 children, Alan, Jerry, and me, your 7 grandchildren, Molly, Caton, David, Jonathan, Karen, Thomas, and Matthew, and you loved being Gigi to Jory, Eleni, Maya, Avi, and Nora. Mom, I know these last few months have been difficult for you. We almost lost you in April when you were hospitalized with a small bowel obstruction. But as you have done so many times before, you willed yourself to go on, and you miraculously did. And just as you were always there for us, your family showed up for you. Not only me, Jerry, Rick, and Elizabeth, but all 7 of your grandchildren came, thinking they were coming to say goodbye. But we ended up having a celebration of your grit and your determination. It was such a special time to all be together, and we will never forget your instructing us all to sing "Happy Days Are Here Again." We did the best we could, but it must have been good enough because you were dancing in your bed. Mom, I was so grateful to have these extra bonus last few months with you and the time we spent together. And I have to thank my mom's amazing aide, Vera, who made for the care you gave her these past few years, making it possible for her wish to remain at home come true. There were so many of you that were special to my mom and deserve recognition. I want to do a special shout out to Lauren Axelrod, who came to my rescue 2 years ago as my mom's technical support person. How many 100-year-olds have an iPhone, an iPad, and stream TV? As I was not a great long-distance tech support, Lauren, you and your family became dear friends, not only to our mom, but to all of us. I'm going to end with something I learned about my mom only a few years ago. Despite being a world traveler herself, I learned my mom always put on a special pair of earrings every time Jerry or I flew on an airplane. When Jerry flew to his son's Matthew's college graduation a few months ago, just after my mom was discharged from the hospital, Vera and I struggled to put those earrings in for my mom to assure his safe passage. Mom, today I'm wearing those same earrings to assure your safe passage. I don't know right now how, but I will go on without you in body. But due to your courage, strength, and inspiration, you will always be with us in spirit and in our hearts. I love you so much, and I hope you and Dad are looking down and smiling at all that you have created.
Such beautiful words shared this morning. And this is just one of the opportunities to continue sharing these memories that I know everyone in this room has of these incredible, incredible life that Fran lived. And before we move on from our service this morning to the next part of our burial, I just want to share a few brief announcements, which is following the conclusion of our service in the sanctuary this morning, the burial will take place at Willowbrook Cemetery, just down the road, 395 Main Street here in Westport. You can join the processional or follow and meet us there. That will begin at 11:15, but we're welcome to go there immediately following our service. Shiva will be observed in Fran's beloved Westport home today, 22 Philo Street. There will be a luncheon that all are invited to attend, and Shiva will take place from then until 8 p.m. with a minyan at 6 p.m. led by Julie Sharp, a beloved member of the book club with Fran. And donations in Fran's memory can be directed towards the Westport Public Library and the Westport Center for Senior Activities. And so at this time, we ask God for the safe passage of Fran's soul through this memorial prayer, El Male Rachamim, God of compassion. We ask that you grant eternal life and peace to Fran's soul. And if you're able, I'll invite you to rise in body or spirit. El Male Rachamim, שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, עם קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים. לנשמת יקירנו שהלך לעולמה, בעל הרחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמת אדוני הוא נחלתה, וינוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen. God, full of compassion, you who dwells in the heights and in the depths, grant perfect rest under the wings of your presence to the beloved soul of Frances Mande. Let her find refuge forever in the shelter of your spirit, and may her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. May she find home with you, and may she rest in peace. And together we say, Amen. I'll invite the pallbearers forward at this time. Yose shalom bimromav, hu yase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yase shalom, Yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, Yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. That concludes our service this morning. I'll invite all who would like to join us at Willowbrook momentarily.